All right, let's dive right in, shall we? We've got some fantastic material to explore today, all about the Spanish verb ponerse.
Ponerse, you say. That's a good one. It's so versatile.
It really is. Our main source this time is a video by Jaime, a Spanish teacher who just brings the language to life.
Oh, I like him.
He shows us how ponerse can be used in so many ways, going way beyond the simple translations you might find in a textbook.
So we're getting into the idioms and expressions.
Exactly. Those phrases that native speakers use all the time, the ones that make you sound like you really know your stuff.
The kind that adds that extra oomph to your Spanish.
So from what I gathered from Jaime's video, ponerse can be both reflexive, meaning the action is directed back at the subject, and non-reflexive, where the action affects something else.
Right. Like, yo pongo el libro, which is I put the book, would be non-reflexive. But then you've got yo me pongo a dieta, which is I put myself on a diet, and that's reflexive.
And it's the reflexive use that we're really focusing on today. Those expressions that add color and personality to everyday conversations.
Makes sense. Those are the fun ones.
For instance, let's say you've been enjoying a little too much good food.
Yeah.
Or maybe indulging a bit.
Happens to the best of us.
And you step on the scale and think, okay, time for a change. That's where ponerse a dieta comes in.
Like saying, I'm going on a diet, but it emphasizes a conscious decision, a deliberate act of self-improvement.
And then maybe you're feeling a bit out of shape and decide to hit the gym.
Get that heart pumping.
That's where ponerse in forma takes center stage. You're not just fit, you're actively getting in shape.
And that idea of being active and fit is so deeply rooted in Spanish culture.
Definitely. Now imagine a feast, a table piled high with amazing dishes, and everyone's just digging in.
Oh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
That's where you'd use ponerse las botas literally to put on your boots.
But of course, it doesn't actually mean that. It's a fun way of saying to pig out, to really enjoy a meal.
And I love how it goes beyond just eating a lot of food. It implies a real sense of enjoyment and satisfaction.
Like you're really relishing the experience.
It makes you wonder, though, why boots?
Right. Why boots for eating? Maybe it's like gearing up for a big meal, like putting on your eating boots.
I like that, a playful way of looking at it. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Think about those times when you're embarrassed and your cheeks turn bright red.
We've all been there.
In Spanish, that's ponerse colorado, literally to become red. It's such a vivid way to express that feeling.
And you know what's interesting? There are so many other expressions in Spanish that use ponerse with colors to express different emotions.
Oh, like what?
Well, for example, if you're furious, you can say ponerse negro, which means to become black with anger.
Wow, that's intense. So it's like a whole spectrum of emotions, all connected to colors.
Exactly. Now, picture this. You've got a big event coming up, maybe a wedding or an important presentation. You're prepping, making sure every detail is perfect.
Right, you're getting ready mentally and physically.
In Spanish, you'd say ponerse a punto. It's that feeling of fine-tuning, getting everything in order.
So whether it's your appearance or a big project, ponerse a punto covers that crucial stage of preparation. Now let's talk about those long-awaited reunions with friends.
Oh, those are the best. Catching up on everything you've missed.
You haven't seen each other in ages, and there's so much to talk about. That's where ponerse al corriente comes in. It needs to get up to date, to fill each other in on all the news.
Like saying, tell me everything.
Okay, imagine a situation where a leader needs to step up, take charge, especially during a challenge or a crisis.
That takes courage and responsibility.
Absolutely. In Spanish, that's ponerse al frente, literally to put oneself at the front.
It's not just about being in charge. It's about actively leading, guiding others.
It evokes this image of a captain steering a ship through a storm or a general rallying their troops.
It's about being at the forefront, leading with determination. All right, from leadership, let's move to a slightly less noble emotion, envy.
Ah, yes, that feeling when someone has something you want.
It can get to the best of us.
In Spanish, you express this with ponerse verde de envidia, literally meaning to become green with envy.
I love that one. The color green has always been associated with envy, so it's instantly recognizable.
It's like that saying green-eyed monster, perfectly capturing the negative side of envy. Now, let's crank up the intensity. We're talking about full-blown rage, the kind of anger that makes you see red.
Whoa, okay. Things are getting heated.
In Spanish, you might say ponerse hecho un basilisco, which literally means to become a basilisk.
But basilisk, like that mythical serpent with the deadly days.
That's the one. It implies a level of anger that's explosive, almost out of control.
It paints quite a picture. So we've explored envy, we've touched on rage. Now let's end this first round of expressions on a more balanced note. Life, as we all know, has its ups and downs, good moments, and bad.
The highs and the lows.
Exactly. And the Spanish expression ponerse en lo bueno malo perfectly captures this duality. It means to focus on either the good or the bad side of things. It's about where you choose to direct your attention.
It's like the classic glass half full or glass half empty analogy. Someone who always focuses on the negative might be described as someone who siempre se pone en lo malo. They always dwell on the bad.
And someone who chooses to focus on the positive, even in challenging situations, se pone en lo bueno, looking for that silver lining. It's a powerful reminder that we have a choice in how we perceive things.
I'm really starting to appreciate just how much depth there is to PONERSE and how much it reveals about Spanish culture.
It's amazing, right? It's like these little phrases are windows into how people think and feel.
And Jaime does such a brilliant job in his video, not just explaining the expressions, but bringing them to life.
Yeah, he doesn't just give you dry definitions. He creates these scenarios that make them so much easier to remember.
And he emphasizes that to really grasp the nuances, you need to use them in context, in complete sentences.
It's like learning an instrument, right? You can study all the theory, but the magic happens when you start playing.
Exactly. And with language, the more you practice, the more those expressions become second nature.
Speaking of practice, Kimi mentioned he's got even more pone expressions up his sleeve.
Oh, did he? Can't wait to see what else he comes up with.
It just goes to show there's always something new to discover, even with verbs we think we already understand.
It's a journey, isn't it? Language learning, I mean.
It really is. And it's not just about Spanish. It's about appreciating the beauty and complexity of language itself.
And maybe it inspires us to look at our own native languages with a fresh perspective.
What hidden depths might we find there, right? What seemingly simple verbs might have a whole world of expressions waiting to be uncovered.
That's such a good point. We often take our own language for granted.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into PONERSE, what stands out to you? Which expressions have caught your attention?
It's hard to pick just one, but I think for me is that realization that each verb is like a doorway to a whole universe of expressions and cultural insights.
Yeah, and it's not just about the individual expressions either.
What do you mean?
It's more like we've been given this whole new way of looking at Spanish.
Right, like we've zoomed in on this one verb, ponerse.
And suddenly we see all these connections
To culture, to emotions.
to how people actually use the language in real life.
And I think that's really a credit to Jaime's teaching style.
Absolutely. He makes it so fun and engaging.
To everyone listening, if you're even a little bit curious about Spanish.
I definitely recommend checking out his videos.
You won't regret it, and hey.
What about those of us who maybe aren't studying Spanish?
Yeah, is there something in this for them?
Well, I think so.
Like what?
This whole deep dive got me thinking about my own language.
Oh, you mean English?
Yeah, like what hidden depths are lurking in there.
Right, like what seems like a simple verb.
But actually has this whole world of expressions attached to it.
I bet there are tons we don't even realize.
Yeah, just waiting to be uncovered.
So I guess the takeaway here is
There's always more to learn.
about language, about culture, about ourselves even. Well, this has been fascinating.
It really has.
Till next time, then keep exploring.
Keep those ears open.
And those minds curious.